Hey there, happy Monday. It's the last one of July. I'm NBC Connecticut Storm Tracker meteorologist Alexis Clemens. The time is 9:16 here on Monday, July 27th, and I wanted to give you an update on a very stormy end to the month of July, and some of those rain chances are actually going to start up later today. Most of us, though, should stay dry until tomorrow afternoon. So let's go ahead and give you the latest here on our Monday, the last one of July. Again, thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, of course, you can ask them away in the comments. But I want to show you kind of what we're monitoring here. So what I'm watching right now, this doesn't look like much, but you kind of see that cluster of storms there in the UP of Michigan into Wisconsin. That is actually a very strong system that's going to be forming here. It's likely going to develop very quickly and create some severe weather over the Great Lakes today. But what it's going to do is really, really become a big system and move right into our region here. So I'm expecting that to happen within the next about 24 to 30 hours, and we will be seeing a lot of rain from this system, and I'll explain why, because it's actually a pretty unusual setup for this time of year specifically. If we go ahead and zoom in on Connecticut, things are fine right now. It is a little muggy out there. You might notice that. We've got dew points now. Again, this is at 9:17 this morning. We've got dew points in the 60s, up to 66 in Chester and New Haven. That's not terrible, but you're starting to feel a little bit of that humidity, right? And you can see it's much less to the northeast. Looks like Windham County actually feeling pretty refreshing this morning. We're expecting that humidity to spread to the northeast as we go through the day. Temperatures themselves are not too bad. They're in the 60s and 70s. Honestly, Monday's not a terrible day. It's a little hazy out there, actually. But our big story is going to be that rainfall. So let me go ahead and show you what we're looking at here. I do actually want to show you the smoke because it's not going to be nearly as bad as it was 2 weeks ago, but there are some wildfires in the Pacific Northwest over towards Washington, Oregon. It's wafting a lot of smoke in our direction. It's going to stay in the upper levels, so that's the key word there, upper levels, to where well, it might be a little hazy, but air quality should remain unimpacted. So maybe some milky skies today instead of the bright blue that we've been seeing the last couple of days. Otherwise, things are just looking a little cloudy out there, especially to our west. So I do want to kind of step you through what happens here over the next about 5 days or so, because it's a very interesting setup, and I want to explain it to the best of my ability. So we've got sunshine out there right now. Honestly, not a bad day here for Monday, just a little muggy. If you're in western Connecticut this afternoon, especially along and to the west of Route 8, but even as close as 91, you might see a couple of storms pop up this afternoon. They'd be quick little downpours, wouldn't last that long, and probably wouldn't amount to much. And most of us stay dry. It's only like 10-20% of the state here. But we are kind of monitoring that risk for the afternoon. And by risk, we're not looking at severe weather, just a quick little downpour, and then we'd be on our way. Otherwise, I think Monday's fairly dry. It's dry for 90% of us here. You're going to notice, though, cloud cover increasing through the night. So remember the last few nights we've been in the 50s. It's been really refreshing out there. Not the case anymore. We are now going to be seeing those low temperatures in the 60s ahead of this rain chance that we are monitoring. So Tuesday, I actually expect to start dry. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning. Where's the rain, right? Well, it's coming. Not yet, but have the umbrella handy Tuesday morning. You probably won't need it until the afternoon and evening commutes. I do think that rain is really going to settle in by late tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. That kind of seems to be the first batch of this rain. You could see a couple of showers before then, but once it starts up tomorrow evening, it's going to stick around for quite some time here. And I want to show you why, because this is a really interesting setup here. So what's happening is we've got a low pressure system, like I said, developing over the Great Lakes. We're going to watch it become pretty strong and pack a lot of moisture with it, right? Providing all of these rain chances. It's an unusually strong low pressure system for this time of year, and it's quickly going to provide a line of showers and thunderstorms that really approaching us by tomorrow afternoon and evening. I do think that the heaviest of the rain is going to come late Tuesday into early Wednesday. That's kind of as this cold front moves through the region. That's when I think it's more widespread heavy rain. I think that's unfortunately the best chance that we could see for some ponding, some flooding, right? With that heavy rain. We're hoping it doesn't last too terribly long like it did, last Tuesday. But there is always that possibility. We'll watch that, especially Wednesday morning. I'd be prepared for a very wet Wednesday morning commute for us here, but I want to show you what's going on with this system here. You probably are aware, the red there is a warm front, the blue there is a cold front, but what's the purple? That is what we call an occluded front. And basically what's happening with this system is it's breaking apart from our jet stream. Our jet stream is what, sits well above our heads. It is what is bringing us that wildfire smoke all the way from the Pacific Northwest. And it also moves along our weather patterns, our weather systems. If this little guy breaks apart from this system, which is what we're expecting here, there's nothing to move it along. It's going to kind of just be stuck here. And unfortunately, that's kind of what I'm watching. It's kind of stalling across the region for Wednesday, Thursday, and even into Friday now. Friday looks likely that we see a little bit of rain at this point. The system is just stuck. There's nothing pushing it out of here. So I did want to show you kind of what that radar will look like a little bit later on in the week. So the same thing here. We kind of see that rain develop, especially by late tomorrow. I think it is a drier start to Tuesday, but rain really developing by late in the day. There's that heavy rain kind of coming in the early Wednesday morning hours. And I do think that once that round moves in, it's just going to be kind of rounds of scattered rain. Look at how it just rotates around us. Nothing's pushing it out of here. And that's what I'm kind of expecting through Thursday. So Thursday looks very rainy. I'm thinking Friday could see a couple lingering showers out there, especially in the morning and especially to the northeast. By Saturday, for sure, we start to see that cloud cover kick on out of here a little bit more and drier conditions. But that's the concern with all of this rain. I think by the end of the week, you are going to be tired of the rain. I think you're going to be ready for the sunshine to return. So I hope you enjoyed this weekend. We're hoping, the hope is that this 2 to 4 inches of rain that we're going to see over this week, we're hoping that it's spread out, right? That's the goal, because then that flooding risk would be decreasing. But the concern is that if we see a lot of that in a shorter amount of time, especially like Wednesday morning, that could lead to some flooding in certain areas. I will also like to point out that a lot of our models are really coming in at some heavier rain or higher rainfall totals to our west. I could easily see that move into Western Connecticut. So we will, of course, be watching that as well. As of the time of this live stream that we're doing here, 9:23 a.m. To my knowledge, there are no watches and warnings issued. So I am just going to check that just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, nothing as of yet. But I think we could see a flood watch potentially into Tuesday and Wednesday, but that has not been issued yet. And I do think that the best chance for that ponding, poor drainage areas to kind of see that ponding would be late Tuesday, really early Wednesday seems to be the best chance for that. Let's see if we have any questions for you there. Somebody says, hopefully no rain today. I think if you're in like Litchfield and Fairfield counties, maybe parts of New Haven County, there's a chance for a little bit of rain. If you're not in those areas, it's pretty dry for you today. So that is good news. Most of us stay dry until I think tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully no rain for the Yard Goats game Thursday and Friday. I'm supposed to coach softball in Middletown at 6:15 Wednesday. Yeah, it's going to be tough this week. I know the Yard Goats are back in town, and all of those things. Yeah, I think we'll have to just really pay attention to that forecast. I think by Friday the game should be okay. At least at this point, that's still 5 days out. Things could change, but I think it would just be kind of a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that we'll have to pay attention to any evening plans due to the rain. So I want to break it down for you here. I think this is the best way to describe and sum up what's going on. So we've got isolated storms, mainly in western Connecticut this afternoon. Isolated is your key word there. Most of us should stay dry from this system, from the first round of this system here. By Tuesday, a dry start, a rainy end, right? We're going to see that heavy rain develop as we go through your Tuesday, and it's likely going to continue through Wednesday as well. And I do expect lingering showers through Thursday, and unfortunately, it looks like that will roll over into parts of Friday as well, at least the morning hours. So that's kind of what we're watching there. So, so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about here. I also think we'll show this for your flooding impacts here, because we're very lucky that our river levels are pretty low right now. So that is good. But small streams, especially poor drainage areas, that's where the best potential for that flooding is, right? We saw that last week, right? Last Tuesday, the poor drainage areas saw all of that rain, right? And like I said, if this 2 to 4 inches is spread out through the week, that's okay. That'll be a good rain for a lot of us here. The concern, though, is when that heavy rain moves in, which I do expect by Wednesday morning. The concern is because the system is stalling, that it could create, a lot of rain over a long period of time. If it's just a lighter rain over that period of time, that's okay. But a heavier rain is where we would have to definitely pay attention to that. And of course, we'll keep you updated with any real-time alerts that come out. We're hoping, of course, for the best, but we want to prepare you just in case, of course. So a lot of rain on the way. I want to show you the temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler over the next couple of days because of the cloud cover, the rain. I think we might even lower Friday's temperature as well, just because cloud cover looks to linger. I was being a little optimistic with Friday because I thought this system potentially could push out of here by then, but it's looking like it wants to stick around through Friday. That's the last day of July. Then we go into August next weekend. Temperatures back in the 80s. I did want to give you kind of a heads up here of what I'm watching next. Looks like we might be warming up a little bit after like the first few days of August, maybe by like the second week of the month. Potentially some warmer temperatures. I'm not seeing anything too crazy, but definitely something that we are paying attention to. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Somebody said, I am very happy that this is not snow. Me as well. Not ready for that. I want to enjoy the warmer temperatures for sure. We're actually very lucky this week because the rain, obviously, that's a lot. But like yesterday, a lot of you probably know I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. My dad called me and he said the heat index yesterday was 120 degrees. That is insane. And there's a lot of heat out west. So we're lucky that never moved into the region here. But of course, now we've got these rain chances. So but yeah, we'll be monitoring. We're hoping that this doesn't turn into something, poor, but the concern is that the system stalls, right? And that would be late Tuesday through Wednesday, Thursday, and potentially Friday as well. So I think by the end of the week, you are going to be so sick of rain. That's kind of what this system looks like it's going to do. We're not going to see a lot of sunshine after today until next weekend. So just be prepared for a lot of rain coming up this week. And you can see temperatures in the 70s and 80s. We're kind of staying put there. Lows are in the 60s here. So yeah, that's kind of what we're paying attention to. Quite a bit of rain. It's starting to come into focus a little bit more about exactly what we're going to be seeing with this system. But yeah, quite a bit of rain on the way, especially late Tuesday into early Wednesday. That's when I think the heaviest of the rain falls. But even after then, it's pretty rainy through Wednesday, Thursday, and potentially into Friday here. So that's what we are paying attention to. If you have any questions, Let me know. It is now 9:30 in the morning. Let's see what else we can talk about here. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It was fantastic here. I mean, can't ask for much better conditions, right, than what we saw this weekend. Actually want to talk a little bit more about some other weather headlines. Look at once it populates, look at all these heat alerts out there. The entire state of Missouri under a heat alert, under an extreme heat warning. I told you yesterday, or I'm sorry, I told you just a little bit ago that my family in St. Louis, Missouri, 120 degrees was the heat index. That is insane. Absolutely terrible. So we really missed out on that here. But of course, now the rain is moving into the region. Also, wanted to show you, there's nothing in the Atlantic right now, but there's a hurricane. It's Category 1 hurricane, Hurricane Fausto, heading towards Hawaii. Thankfully, it looks like it's going to miss it to the north. So that is good, missing the islands to the north there. But likely still kind of the north shores could see, some higher waves. That'll still kind of move in. But they're definitely missing out on a big system there. So that is good for them, but still getting a little too close for comfort. Somebody said, I saw Banana Ball last Thursday. It was amazing. Awesome. It looked amazing for sure. And here's all that rain that we're kind of monitoring here, 2 to 4 inches of it. Especially, it really, really is honing in on the western part of the state and towards like upstate New York there, the Hudson River Valley. But I still think all of us have the potential to see that or even more through the next few days. I think 2 to 4 inches is kind of just a widespread guesstimate for the week, but I do think many areas will come in a little bit higher than that. So we're expecting the month of July to end. I think the July 2026 will go down as a cooler than average month and a wetter than average month. So that's kind of what it's looking like here. So actually, it's been right on average for Hartford, but Bridgeport, because of all of that rain last week, I think they're like 6 inches above average for this point in July. So really, we don't need many more rain. We saw quite a bit of it last week, but we're just hoping that this spreads out over the next couple of days, but there is that concern that we could see quite a bit of that rain, especially late Tuesday and early Wednesday. That's, I think, when the worst of the heaviest rain will be here, but it's still going to be pretty wet, pretty rainy through Wednesday, through Thursday, potentially into Friday as well. So that is pretty much all I've got for you here. Somebody says, does August look better to end the summer? No, I think summer is going to continue for a bit. We got some time. I think it's even a little bit warmer. I think upper 80s possible by the maybe the second week of August there. Somebody said also the U.S. Drought Monitor has an abnormally dry and moderate drought over us. That is true. It does still have that there, but I don't think it picked up a lot of the rain that we saw last week. It's the Drought Monitor is interesting because we've seen a lot of rain, but of course we all know even with a lot of rain that doesn't solve all of the issues super quickly. So we do need the rain, of course, but too much at one time doesn't help. We need it spread out over a longer period of time. Maybe we'll get that this week and get some help there. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it. Somebody's asking about rain in August. I'm not seeing anything that looks too crazy at this point. I think maybe a rain chance by like early next week, like maybe next Monday, the 3rd. But I'm not seeing anything too crazy for rain. So, but hopefully we can kind of start to dry out a little bit, or at least, if we see rain, we don't need too much of it in a short amount of time, right? That's where the issues come into play. And we'll keep you updated if that does happen. Of course, we're hoping it doesn't, and it shouldn't for most of us, but there's still a chance. So we want to make sure that you are updated. Remember, we kind of learned from last week, never try to pass a flooded roadway, right? You don't know where the puddle ends. It could be a little one. It could be a large one. So you don't even want to test it, right? So if it starts to rain and it's just too much for you, pull over to the side, let it pass. So that's what we're watching. We'll keep you updated through this week. We appreciate you joining us here on your Monday morning. It's 9:35 now this morning. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll keep you updated. Stay safe this week. Stay dry, of course, as well, and have a great rest of your Monday, great rest of July.